for joining us for yet another amazing Zoom-tastic meeting. We appreciate everyone's ability to come out and join us. We've had Congresswoman Demings. We've had an amazing panel of people talking about social justice. And today we have joining us UCF's brand new president, Dr. Alexander Cartwright. Can't wait to hear from him. And to properly get us started, I'm going to kick it back to our Tiger Bay Executive Director, Greg Eisenberg. Greg, all yours.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Dr. Alexander Cartwright was selected as UCF's sixth president by the UCF Board of Trustees on March 20th, 2020, which just happens to be my birthday, following a nationwide search. He was confirmed by the Florida Board of Governors the following week. Prior to joining UCF, Dr. Cartwright served as the Chancellor of the University of Missouri with an appointment as a professor in the Electrical Engineering and Computer Science Department at the MU College of Engineering. While at MU, Dr. Cartwright led the university through strategic enrollment and research growth, as well as the successful completion of the university's $1.3 billion fundraising campaign. He continuously advocated for student success initiatives, pushed for a more equitable and diverse environment where every voice is heard, and increased efforts to improve engagement with Missourians and beyond. As a first-generation college student whose journey to higher education was not traditional, Dr. Cartwright understands and prioritizes the need to build successful outcomes for students of all backgrounds. Among his proudest accomplishments from his time at MU is the launch of the Missouri Land Grant Program, a committee to helping students who are on Pell Grant eligible by covering their tuition and fees. He has since overseen the launch of programs designed to improve retention and graduation rate, as well as post-graduation outcomes. Dr. Cartwright came to MU from the State University of New York, where he served as provost and executive vice chancellor from September 2014 to July 2017. At SUNY, Dr. Cartwright oversaw a board portfolio including academic policy, enrollment, and management, and more. As a native of the Bahamas, Dr. Cartwright holds a doctorate in electrical and computer engineering from the University of Iowa, and he and his wife, Melinda, have two children, Alyssa and Andrew. So without that being said, I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Cartwright.
Well, thank you so much, Greg, and thank you, Nick. It's great to be here. I hope I have some time left after you took that long for that introduction, but it's a little embarrassing to hear that. It's terrific to be here. You know, it's I haven't gotten a chance to meet a lot of people, and so I hope I get a chance to see all of you in person soon, and looking forward to getting to know all of you better. I really do appreciate all of your interest in UCF, and the opportunity this provides me to talk about what's happening here and to really think about how we can work together over the next months and certainly into years moving forward. UCF is just a remarkable institution, and it's fortunate to have so many people across our community who are supportive of this great institution. And I certainly, since I arrived here about 3 months ago now, I've been so impressed with that sense of community and what we're doing and what we can all do together. It's been clear that partnership is what this is about, sharing a purpose, drive our impact together, think about how we can move forward this whole region collectively, and really think about how we do it in the best way possible for everybody involved. This certainly was an extraordinary time to pick to actually go to another institution. And I can tell you, even with all of the complexities of coming into an institution, not knowing everybody and taking on a presidency, I am truly so happy to be here, truly happy to be part of this great institution. It's turned out to be exactly what I thought it would be. It's a remarkable institution with real entrepreneurship and, you know, we can solve anything type of attitude. You know, when we got into the planning for the pandemic, it was clear to me that this institution was thinking differently about how we do things, how we work together. And I'm proud to be part of an institution that thinks that way. I've been at a lot of other institutions and saw a lot of higher education. And I'd say what I appreciate so much about this institution, about UCF, is that it's aligned so much with what I believe higher education should be. It's about how do we give access to opportunity, access to excellence. And this institution is about excellence in research and everything that we do, but it's also about how we actually provide that opportunity to those of us, to our students who, when they take advantage of that opportunity, can transform their lives, but also transform the lives of their families for generations. And so it's great to be a part of such an institution that feels and actually believes the same way that I do, that this is what it means to move community forward. I've said before, that I had no plans of leaving Mizzou, but I have no regrets either for being here. I think this is just such a fabulous place, and I want to continue to do everything here. I will tell you that when you combine what this institution looks like, the growing diversity of our student body, all of the things that we're doing, the way that we provide access with Propel eligible students, the academic programs and the strengths that we have. I've said that this institution looks like the future of America, but in fact, this institution is the future of America. We have the opportunity to be a leading metropolitan research university in this country. And I think it's that belief, that confidence that this institution shows that's going to make that possible, right? We were confident enough to declare ourselves national champions.
Look at what I see. Is that what you see? I'm going to send it to you now because.
Okay, someone's on. I can hear someone else, but it is that confidence that makes a difference to everything that we do. And it's about the partnerships with all the people in this community that makes it happen. I've learned, that when you come here, the conversation isn't just about one particular institution. It is really about partnerships. It's about how we all work together. It's about the entire region. And that to me is remarkable. That is something that I didn't quite have a grasp for until I got here, and I started talking to more and more people and starting to realize, hey, the people here want to work together. They realize, they get the concept that all boats rise when you start improving. And so we can all benefit by working together. And certainly I have no less aspirations than for us to aim to be a top 50 public research university, and also to certainly be an institution that the Association of American Universities, the AAU, one of the prestigious organizations, would want to be proud to have us as part of that organization. And we know we can get there, because I don't know if you noticed, but recently, we've been named with the #1 hospitality and tourism school in the nation, and #2 in the world. And as I said to many people, considering what we have here, I'm not quite sure. #1 must be just amazing, because there's no way they could really beat what we have. But I know we have a tremendous program here, and that's not the only one. We have a lot of other programs in video game design, engineering, and we certainly know that we're the top provider for aerospace and defense industries, our graduates to those areas. And that's something we can all be proud of. We really think about how do we serve this entire community. I want us to also continue to work with our industry and partners and researchers, and think about how we can further define the excellence at UCF and what areas match what this entire region is trying to do. And the reason I say that is because we're not an institution without challenges, right? Everybody has its challenges. Everybody needs to think about how we do things better. And I believe that we can do that best when we start even further aligning with what are the priorities of the region? What are the priorities of Orlando? What's the priorities of Central Florida? And let's move in that direction where we can do more collaboratively, building stronger, a more inclusive culture for our students, our faculty, our staff, so that when you look at all that's going on in society, we know that improving diversity, inclusion, and equity at UCF is going to make this place even better. It's going to make us stronger. It's going to make us smarter. We're going to make better decisions, and we're going to be a better place to work. And that's going to attract the talent that we need to be coming here to this region. And it's going to allow us to drive what happens, drive forward what happens in society. When I got here, we had a lot of challenges going on with the pandemic and COVID-19, and that was really my first exposure to how this university comes together and works together. And it wasn't like people were going, oh, there's just so much to do, we have to figure this out, we figure that out. Everybody just stepped up and said, we got some work to do, we're going to do it. And we're going to figure out what's the best way possible for us to come back in the fall and provide the type of quality education that we want to be providing. And I think you see that in our planning process, is that I'm very proud, I've said this numerous times, I'm so proud of the work that was done by everybody at this institution in preparing. Now, how we end up, what it ends up doing in the fall, we don't know yet. We'll see where we end up. But I feel good about the work that's been done in preparing for that. The fact that our CARES Act funding, half of that money went to our students, providing support for about 18,000 of our students in additional financial aid. That actually has allowed us to really help, again, with our students who need help to be able to stay here and to graduate. We're lucky in that this institution had the foresight to look at and invest in online education. How do you do digital learning, digital education? And we were already ranked in the top 20 in the nation in digital and online education. And that benefited us tremendously when we had to switch to online, because we knew how to do it. We had faculty who knew how to do it. And we trained even additional faculty this summer, so that those are going to be high quality classes. When people are thinking about where to go, when you want to go, if you're going to be having to take classes online this fall, there's no better place than to take it here at UCF. So I would encourage all the students to be here and taking it with our world-class faculty who know how to do this and have shown that flexibility to shift and provide a quality education. We aren't thinking about just how we continue to do what we're doing, but we're thinking about how we become even better, how we're going to emerge from this as a stronger institution, how we think about changing our financial strategies, and how do we strategically invest so that we can continue to add to the community here. You know, during COVID-19, we've shown that we can produce new respirator masks, nanoparticle films that actually can catch viruses and kill viruses, the cough drop that helps, of course, to reduce the spread of the disease. Those are the types of things that we want to amplify and we want to continue to do. And we want to help during a time when people are thinking about maybe needing additional education. We want to provide the education that's needed. And that's why we've launched 11 new graduate certificates and tracks, so that people can think about coming back to school and really, getting additional skills that they might need during this time if they really need to look for other opportunities. So we simply see that UCF in the future is going to be a different type of institution. It's going to be a porous institution. It's one where ideas and people flow in and out of the institution, and it's no longer, certainly not, it's never been an ivory tower, and it never will be an ivory tower, but it will be a beacon. It'll be a place where everybody recognizes true excellence, and that we are able to then work with our communities to make that excellence even more. It's about transforming society through research. It's about the behavioral and social sciences scholarship that we do about how we improve lives around us, contributions to arts and humanities, tourism, all of the things that we do that certainly drive and help with this region. We have to be great stewards of public trust and public dollars, and we want to make sure we do those things as well as we can. I look forward to working with all of you. I look forward, of course, to seeing you actually in person sometime. That would be fun. It's always difficult to actually deliver anything online when you're not able to see the faces. I feed off of the energy of the people around me, and it would be great to be able to be in that type of environment. But thank you for believing in us. Thank you for everything that you've done to allow us to get to where we are, and I look forward to working with you to move to that next level. And before I hand it back, you know, there's only one thing left to say, and that is go Knights and charge on.
Go Knights, charge on. Thank you so much again. We have a bunch of people that are in the chat. So if you have any questions, feel free to add them here and we'll go through and ask those of President Cartwright. First, we'll start with some of the questions that our board has prepared for the event. The first one is for the short term, at least, COVID has changed a lot of things. I'm sure going into the position, you had a much different, even short-term vision for what's going to be coming in fall than what is going to come immediately. How has COVID changed some of those or impacted some of those visions and plans for the short term?
So, I mean, you always have to focus on what's the most important thing at hand, and COVID-19 has turned out to be the most important thing that we've been having to deal with. I'm approaching my first 100 days, and typically that's a time when you're doing planning and you're thinking about what the future might look like. But I would say I'm very proud of what we've accomplished in the first 100 days, which is we've thought about how we actually manage and live with COVID-19 going into the fall and going into the next semester. We'd love to do even more strategic thinking. We're going to be doing more of that, but again, it's important as an institution that you think about what's most important, address those issues first, and then move into other topics as they come along.
And what parts of the institution do you think are going to be most affected by COVID? Is it more so admissions, or is it the actual programming?
So, you know, we were up this summer about 11% for our summer session, and right now our fall is tracking either flat to up in terms of enrollment. I hope that what we actually see is those numbers actually increase even more, because I think people start to see that there's some stability. Even with all the uncertainty, there will be stability in higher education, and we will be able to provide a high quality education online, and combined in our case, online and in person. That is going to happen, and we're going to be able to provide that. I'd say the ones that are, you know, the more up in the air are, you know, how do you provide the housing? How do you, we've had to reduce the number of beds. We've had to do some things that have allowed us to change, and we've had to invest a lot in the university's infrastructure. How do we clean more? How do we, you know, provide services that allow people to at least minimize any spread of a virus? So those are, I think it's those things that have been affected a lot. And the one that's still out, you know, that we still don't have an answer on, which I'm sure some people are wondering about, is athletics.
Yes.
But that's still to be answered.
Now, is there a preference of which way the school would want to go on athletics, or is that something that's completely up in the air still?
It's still up in the air. I mean, there's a lot of discussions happening. Our athletic director has been doing a great job. Danny White's been doing a fabulous job, and really thinking about how we can best be prepared for the fall sports, and football is the big one. We would love to be able to play football. And then after that, we'll think about winter sports and Olympic sports. But we've brought our athletes back, and we're going through that process. And it really is going to depend, you know, just like it always is the case, right? You have to have multiple teams to play. So the results and where this ends up isn't just dependent on how well our group is doing. I mean, I think Danny and his entire team, the coaches, everybody are doing a fabulous job. But we are also dependent on other universities and other, in our case, other conferences too, right? It's not just the AAC, it's other conferences too that are going to impact us. So we don't know where that's going to end up yet.
As a season ticket holder, my fingers are crossed.
Mine too.
Tiger Bay member Jay Falk asks, what is your assessment of the healthcare parts of the college, medical school, nursing, pharmacy, medical technology, et cetera, and the issues surrounding the hospital?
So, you know, we have made a lot of progress in this area. It's a relatively new endeavor, but the medical school itself is doing very well. The biomedical sciences is doing exceptionally well, certainly at the undergraduate level. I think we can continue. There's going to be a tremendous need for medical professionals for the foreseeable future, right? Nursing, for sure. We're going to continue to see a big need for nursing. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity here for us to even work more collaboratively within the region with the other healthcare systems, thinking about how we provide what is needed for this entire region collectively. So I think there's a lot of potential there. We're going through a strategic planning process with them that is really going to define what our academic health sciences center looks like for the future. So more to come on that in the near future as we go through that planning process.
Perfect. One of the next questions that we have is obviously a sore spot of the last couple of years has been the ongoing battles between, the Florida legislature and UCF. How do you foresee kind of taking on that challenge moving forward as the new face of the university? And again, not just public trust, but also kind of dealing with the politics of Florida State there.
I haven't experienced that yet. So what I'm hoping is that it just stays the way it is right now. I've had tremendous support and I haven't actually been feeling any real challenges for us. We'll see how that goes down the road. But I'll tell you my view on that generally is that our job, we need to do our job. We need to show that we are focused on our academic core, which is how do we provide the research that's going to drive the economy in this area? How do we educate students and provide quality educations to all of the students who come to this institution? How do we show that we are always exceptional stewards of public funds? And I think if we do those things and we deliver on what the state is looking for, we'll have the support we need. But we need to be committed to providing what the state is actually looking for us to be doing. So I'm going to be just focused on here's what we do as an institution, here's how we help the entire state, and I want everybody to recognize that an investment in UCF is an investment in the future of this state and a really good investment to be making.
I would agree with that. This question is from Liz Doyle, Tiger Bay member. Right now, we have 4 interns on site at Florida House in Washington, but many universities are only allowing virtual internships. Is the university encouraging students to pursue internship opportunities even in this time of COVID?
Yeah, we're not limiting what people can be doing. In fact, we recognize, and so this is an interest. This question is actually very insightful because it's beyond just what we're doing in internships, but it gets to the fundamentals of what we think an education provides. And education is about providing students with the opportunity to grow. It's not just what we do within our classrooms, but it's what they do outside of the classroom. And the reason that we're so focused on opening and having in-person classes is because we realize there are a number of activities that are best done in person. And so we're interested in what can we do to facilitate that? How can we during a period where it's actually a significant challenge, how can we allow our students to have the best possible experiences possible? So I'm supportive of anything that we can do that is done in as best as we can to give people those experiences. So we're happy to see things move forward.
Great. Nick, did you want to jump in on the next question?
Sure. Dr. Cartwright, it's not Tiger Bay unless there's a few questions about sensitive topics of interest, and one comes to us from our Tiger Bay member, Josh Lazar, who asks for an update regarding the review of Dr. Nagy, a situation where First Amendment meets social justice.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I mean, we had a faculty member who made some statements on social media that we immediately denounced. We don't agree with those statements. However, there are issues related to that, as Nick said, which is what is First Amendment rights of an individual as a public, matters of public concern to be able to speak independently of what they're doing in the classroom. But we've also made it very clear that that any views can't translate into discrimination or misconduct in the classroom. and we have received we've received reports, and we have our Office of OIE, our Office of Institutional Equity, is looking at everything that we've received, and they are actually going through that. They go through a whole process. There's a process of inquiry where you actually look at all of those reports. Then there's a decision that's made as to whether to go to a full phase investigation. The person who is the accused gets an opportunity to defend, and we're going through that process. And that process takes time. Anywhere that you get into something that is as complex as this, it takes time. That process is ongoing.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Cartwright. The next question comes from member Dave Riley, who is looking to talk to you engineer to engineer, where he notes that with the construction going on, he's looking to see what efforts you're taking specific to your home subject of engineering to help UCF grads compete with UF's grads for building and other such things.
I like the competitive nature of that one, right? It's like,
let's just get right to it. It's all about it. All about it.
You know, well, next thing is, you know, that they just need to play us in football too. But
do a home and home. They might say yes, but that's another topic.
sorry. You know, I think one of the things is one of our strengths, and I think the question what it's really getting at is that, you know, UCF engineering is tremendous, right? We are really strong in engineering, and I think the more that we can do to build on our strengths, and that's the way I'll answer that, is that one of the things that I want us to be thinking about is how do we strategically decide where are our opportunities to become world-class, or where are we already world-class, but honestly can be, you know, number one in the world, right? Those are the types of decisions that we need to be making. Clearly, there are opportunities for us to further invest in some of our engineering, some sciences, other areas. I don't know the specifics of construction engineering here, but I would assume there are lots of opportunities there for construction engineering. And so I think that, you know, anything that we can be doing that aligns with some of the strong work that we have going on. Certainly we have a lot in computer science, virtual reality. We have a lot of those things, and those things are connected to the work that's also happening in construction. So I'm not sure exactly where we'll end up with engineering, but yes, we are looking at how do we continue to invest in areas like that.
A follow-up that I kind of have on that, and just want to hear your personal opinion as you're kind of taking the reins for UCF, is there's traditionally been a brain drain on students kind of leaving UCF and in the area, where UCF is second largest school in the nation and constantly growing, yet the population of our local community that has a degree of higher education or more does not seem to correlate. And wondering what we can do to keep more of our UCF students here in this community and keep us, you know, graduating, working, and building our families here, and seeing more correlation between the two.
Yeah, and that's a great question. And what we need to be thinking about is, you know, how do we create an ecosystem around economic development? And the university is a part of that, but the university can't do it alone, right? We need to be working with industry. We need to be working with our economic development agencies. We need to be thinking about how do we recruit companies to this region? How do we advertise the fact that if you're a company and you want to have access to world-class graduates, right? This is a place where you can find them pretty easily. You can find the workforce that you need, and we can keep them local. So you're not having to go and look other places. So the easier thing is bring your company here, invest here. We will work with you to make sure you have the workforce you're looking for. We'll make sure that you have the people that allow you to be competitive here in this area. So I would love for us to be thinking about, you know, how do we work together to recruit and to retain companies in the region, and to align our academic programs with the needs of the industry that's local. And how do we diversify even further from you know, right now, I think we're about 20% tourism. It's possible we might even be able to do more, right? Because we have aerospace, we have military around it, we have all sorts of things that we could then be a part of, and we'd love to be part of that activity.
All right, I'm going to take it back and relay one from member Phil Diamond, our comptroller. And he's going to bring us back to the subject at hand, which is COVID. But this time asking the question in context of applications. Have you noticed a decrease in student applications because of COVID, or had more admitted students elect not to attend? And has there been any thought to reopening admissions because of students maybe not attending other universities that might want to stay closer to home?
Ah, okay. So good. Those are, is that person in admissions or something? They know all the details of what's going on.
He's the comptroller and he's always on the details.
I can see that. I can see that. So the quick answers of is that right now, you know, we've had a tremendous number of people apply who are still very interested in this in this university, and they. For the fall, our first-time students look very strong. We've had a lot of deposits. We have a lot of numbers of people who are coming to the institution. And when I said that we were about flat or just a little bit up, the part where we are not where we would have expected to be is actually in our transfers. Our transfers are down a little bit, but we think that has more to do with the uncertainty around the pandemic than anything. And so we're hoping that as we get closer to the semester, that those numbers will recover to where they should be. So in fact, our numbers are pretty solid right now and looking pretty good. Now, the other part is the other students who may be looking for an opportunity to stay local or do other things locally. We will always work with our community. If I'm hearing that there are opportunities where there's a lot of students who are saying, look, I don't want to go out of state. I don't want to go to this other school that I was thinking of going to. I'd prefer to stay local. I think, you know, we're in a position where we would love to work with our community, figure out what we could do to allow students to have that opportunity for maybe a local, more local experience. And in addition, like I said earlier, right, is that if you're going to take classes online, take it from a program that is top 20 in the country rather than taking it from someone who doesn't know how to do it.
That all makes perfect sense. And I think that flexibility is going to prove very useful to UCF going forward. That's excellent. Well, tell you what, it's not Tiger Bay again unless we focus in a little bit upon elections. Tiger Bay loves elections, and UCF has the honor of being the first college in Florida to have an early voting site. When Orange County's Supervisor of Elections, Bill Cowles, was able to work with UCF to put an early voting site on campus 4 years ago. Can you tell us about elections on campus and working that in the new normal that is COVID and UCF's dedication to that going forward?
Well, actually, I'm learning something today. So, but certainly, look, I'm a big believer in the process that we have in this country and the right for us to vote. And I want to encourage all of our students to be active participants in the process. And so we'll do whatever we can to continue to help with giving people access, giving people ways to actually vote. Here, this is, we're part of the community. And if we can work with you and make this work better for everybody involved, we're happy to be part of that. We're happy to allow people to have access. I think the entire, this coming cycle is going to be interesting for all of us, right? Because it's not going to be the normal election cycle that we are used to, much less in person, more online, more virtual. And so I think we're all going to be learning through this process, but we are committed to continuing to work with our students to talk about responsibility for society. It is our responsibility to participate in that and to make sure that we are part of the voting process.
Excellent answer. Thank you, Dr. Cartwright. Greg, do we have any other questions that are on your horizon?
No, I think we should be good. Thank you so much again for your time today.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here, and it's go Knights and charge on.
Charge on. And thank you again. We'd love to host you again when things are a little bit more back to normal. We'll get a chance to introduce you to the community in person.
That would be
But
great.
we have some more Tiger Way events coming lined up for virtual events. Nick, myself, and the rest of the board will be sure to keep everyone in tune. And until then, as Dr. Cartwright said, charge on. Thank you again for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Everybody, take care. Thank you. Bye.
Bye all.